a truly effective go-to-marketing strategy, you can't be everything to everyone. You have to find your focus. Start with refining your ideal customer profile, or ICP, by identifying the key personas, their unique pain points, and the challenges they're trying to solve. Then align your messaging and tactics to resonate directly with their needs. Choose just 2 key channels to start, whether it's LinkedIn ads for B2B or industry events for networking, and focus on mastering those. It's not all about doing it all, it's about doing it right, strategically and with purpose to drive real scalable results. That's a sneak peek and quote from today's guest, Heidi Hattendorf, founder of Transformation Insights. Welcome to Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast, the go-to resource for business leaders seeking actionable strategies to grow revenue and build lasting success. In this episode, titled Modern Go-to-Market Tactics, Insights for Scalable B2B Growth, I'm joined by Heidi Hattendorf, founder of Transformation Insights and an accomplished B2B marketing strategist with extensive experience into guiding B2B brands to success. Heidi unpacks the essentials of building scalable growth through modern go-to-market strategies. From refining your ICP to crafting targeted, multi-channel approaches, she provides expert insights on aligning your tactics with your business objectives. We discuss how to leverage the right channels, measure success with actionable dashboards, and balance new customer acquisition with strategies to drive retention and expansion among existing clients. If you're ready to elevate your B2B marketing and take your business growth to the next level, this episode is your guide to success. So tune in now for actionable advice and insights from one of the best in the business. Let's go. So welcome, Heidi. Please introduce yourself and share a bit of your background and expertise.
Thanks so much, Kerry, and thanks for having me on. Yeah, Heidi Hattendorf. I lead Transformation Insights, and we're a marketing strategy and business consulting company. And really, my background is in corporate. I had held a number of roles leading marketing teams, ex-CMO, ex-vice president of marketing for companies like Motorola, Automation Anywhere, and then Eris Global, who's a large platform company for the pharma sector. So really what I do now is I help companies of all sizes refining their ideal customer profile, their strategy, their positioning, their messaging, and at the end of the day, converting that into sales. So looking at the right go-to-market motions, looking at the best way to reach their clients. So it's been really fulfilling and very rewarding, especially as this whole market space changes.
I agree. And so the go-to-market strategy tends to be a real foundational core approach to, as you said, to customer acquisition and business growth. But it's important to get it right and set it up with the right ICP. So talk a bit about kind of your approach and kind of framework for building out that go-to-market strategy and making sure you have the right ICP.
Yeah, great question. So most companies, of course, have the strategy. They've got it in their mind. They know who it is they want to target, but have they really written that down? Have they really thought that through? Sometimes it's organic growth where, different customers have come along and all of a sudden they've got this whole range of different customer types. So it's really important then as companies are moving from that initial, let's say, problem market fit to product market or service market fit into really refining what that looks like. So I always start out with positioning, really getting clear on what differentiates. And then that leads into the right messaging, the right go-to-market motions, and the right metrics that then give the best return and help them reach those key customer points.
And so you talked about the ICP, the ideal customer profile. And I think this is an area where it's often a challenge for businesses because you want to market to everyone. Anyone can be a customer, but so it takes discipline to really define that specific ICP and then build that strategy to connect with them. So talk a bit about, when you're identifying the ICP, how do you really refine and make sure you've identified the right the right targets.
Yeah, it's a really great point. And I think too, it doesn't always have to be the exact same type of customer. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be vertical focused. There's a lot of successful companies with a horizontal focus. You see that now with AI. I certainly have an
Mm-hmm.
AI component to my business as well. But it's really about, is there a common connector point? What you're looking for is, are you reaching, let's say, the same title, the same persona within each company?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a vertical? But there's got to be some common connector. And really, what you're looking for is, have your offerings become so splintered or so customized because you're just trying to cast such a wide net? That's where the opportunity is to kind of rein some of that in and look for some commonality. And then maybe you do have different offerings, let's say for different markets. But
Mm-hmm.
it's, was this done by design, or just did this just evolve based on opportunity? So that's really the way I would start.
Excellent. And so are you looking at specific, you said, I love the concept of horizontal. So do you include multiple titles within kind of a target business type and build out the strategy from there?
Yeah, so let's say if it is horizontal, it's not one specific industry, but let's say there's a common connector of,
Mm-hmm.
reaching the CFO, or reaching, let's say, a marketing team, or, it could be an R&D team, whatever that pocket is or whatever that function is,
Mm-hmm.
identifying the title, what are the needs of that particular group? Because that's another way to really split out who you're trying to reach is,
Mm-hmm.
are there different problems they're trying to solve? For
Yeah.
example, one part of the business might be trying to create, innovation around R&D and create a new offering. Another part of the business might be looking for efficiency. Let's accelerate our time to value, or let's reduce costs. So you're looking at, let's say, common titles, common functions if you're horizontal focused, and then common problems to solve. Doesn't mean you just have to have one, but it's
Right.
it's really having that purposeful strategy that's targeting those, so that your messaging then aligns,
Mhm.
depending on what problem or aspiration you're reaching.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, that makes so much sense. You want to build out that the communication that really resonates with the
Yeah.
target audience. So a lot of that connection and communication comes through kind of the go to market approach. So I know we talked a bit about how brand companies typically build that out kind of on an annual basis, but then continue to monitor. So talk a bit about the macro strategy, how you're setting that up, but then how you need to kind of keep an eye on it as well.
Yeah, sure. And I feel like so much has changed now. There's more dashboards and there's more data, which
Hmm.
which can also be overwhelming to companies, right? They're just trying to chase everything. They heard about, oh, we've got to have a better social media campaign, but then they're going to every event. And that's usually where companies get saturated,
Yeah.
right? We've all done it. And
Hmm.
it's just like an overwhelm, not only for them, but also for their budgets, for their prospects. So it's
Yeah.
really having that purposeful, and like, what are some of your anchor go to market strategies? And that's
Yeah.
going to really depend again on who you're trying to reach. Where are those prospects most likely to be, both
Hmm.
for influencers as well as decision makers? And then you can align the budget, the cadence, and the review tied back to that strategy. But it all
Hmm.
starts with the strategy. Who are you trying to reach? Where are some places that they would show up? And then making sure that you've got your message aligned. So, for
Hmm.
example, is it an outbound strategy where it's going to be, let's say, an email campaign that shows
Hmm.
up, or a direct message? Is it event led, which could be, going to conferences, or it could be a webinar? Could be inbound, where you're counting on people to find, via the website, SEO, search. Then there's other strategies too, like partner led, like a partner led go to market motion, which could be through other companies. Maybe somebody's got that stronger alliance with the market, but you've got a really great service or solution that tucks in.
Hmm.
Community led could be, certain groups that you're part of, or, being able to get the message out through the community. So there's multiple ways.
Yeah.
But what I always recommend is to pick two that really resonate. Obviously, you want more than one. Pick two to start, and then
Hmm.
the others can be smaller investments. But rather than trying to do everything, be really clear on how are customers reaching you.
Hmm. No, that's so smart to have to, as you said, you don't want to be everything for everyone. You need to with your defined ICP and then that very targeted go-to-market strategy. You mentioned a bit about some of the channel strategies. What other than what are some of the priorities or most recommended channels that should be part of that testing?
Yeah, and this is a great place to also look at, are you in B2B, which,
Hmm.
then channels like LinkedIn,
Yeah.
industry events, are phenomenal for that. Email works really well. Versus
Mhm.
the consumer side, it's going to be completely different, right? And there's not a one size fits all for all of B2B or all of consumer, but there are
Mhm.
considerations. Reviews, for example, are really big on the consumer side.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more on that mass market. And so, it's really considering that. But if we're talking about within B2B, then looking at a social strategy such as a LinkedIn or ads
Mhm.
within that space definitely resonate. And I know you mentioned about how does that tie to the strategy? What's the best cadence? A
Mhm.
lot of companies right now are getting ready for the new fiscal year. So even
Yeah.
if they're on a different financial calendar, a lot of times their customers too would be on a fiscal year aligned to the calendar. So it's really looking at setting up those new budgets. So that again starts with the strategy. What's worked, what hasn't over the
Yeah.
past year, where do they need to adjust course? And with the data and metrics today, I mean, you could literally be looking at a daily update, right?
Mhm.
But in order to step back, I think the
Yeah.
quarterly is still a great way to refine, what does that strategy look like? What's changed on the competitive side, and really getting the team together to evaluate. Again, it can happen certainly more often. The data's there, but if you want
Mhm.
to just give a little distance between what you've measured, let's say following a campaign versus having a bigger picture and that aligns to the stakeholder and the board calendar,
Mhm.
that could be another way to think about it, is that you need a little bit of time for reflection and to adjust course to put some new motions into play for the following quarter.
Yeah. No, I think that's spot on too. It's you can't just plan it at the beginning of the year and set it and
Yeah.
hope that it just continues to perform. And the timing of a quarterly review, where you're really diving in and seeing what's resonating, who it's resonating with, also allows you to kind of bring seasonality into that as well and kind of think about, okay, next quarter, these are, like as you pointed out, it's Q4, it's what
Mm-hmm.
are our customers thinking and doing, or is it June and are your customers going to be less active during the summer, or if you're looking at now and you're thinking, how does the election impact our customers? So I love that kind of setting the annual goal and plan and go to market strategy, but then that quarterly review to really see how it's working. And one of the tools you mentioned for seeing how it's working and what's resonating is really building that dashboards of
Mm-hmm.
success. So talk a bit about kind of what you recommend everyone has in that dashboard.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because now that there's so much data and with AI that much
Mhm.
more and everything's automated, which is on one hand great, but all the more opportunity really for the leadership team to define what metrics really matter for that given company. So,
Mhm.
for example, on the go-to-market side, it's really looking at the whole pipeline through. So you want to look at what kind of leads are coming in, measuring
Mhm.
the health of the pipeline, what's coming in, and then conversion at each step. So what's
Yeah.
actually converting, getting through to opportunity, what's actually becoming closed won business, as well as closed lost business,
Mhm.
and the why behind each of those. So some
Mhm.
of those core metrics, and then looking and double clicking on which channels are most effective. So
Yeah.
what resonates, our referrals helping, our what about new logos compared to current business and that expansion
Mhm.
opportunity. But then also, looking at costs too, where's the company spending, and then which of those investments might be for influence versus, actually closing business, which you
Yeah.
need both.
Mhm.
You've got to have really both, because we know that buyers are smarter than ever. They're looking multi-channel. They spend 80 to 90% of their time researching and talking to others before they even talk to someone in
Yeah.
sales. So
Yeah.
that's why this multi-channel is so important, but
Mhm.
also why you want to pick the ones that are going to really work and resonate, and then tie that right back to the dashboard to be able to monitor constantly how it's going, but then reflect back, let's say quarterly, and then reset for the annual aligned to the budget.
This episode of Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast, is brought to you by Kriglu. Want to boost customer acquisition while saving time and money? Meet Kriglu, an AI-powered omni-channel bid management platform designed to optimize your ad spend. Kriglu intelligently adjusts bids across channels, ensuring your ads reach the right audience at the lowest cost. Plus, with its automation, you'll free up valuable time to focus on your business. The result? Efficient, cost-effective growth, all while maximizing your marketing budget. Ready to scale smarter and faster? Visit Kriglu.com, Kriglo.com, and start saving today. And it's important too, as you said, to kind of classify what are your inbound strategies for drawing traffic and customers to you, like the website, or other content, but then what are your outbound strategies, and measuring kind of both to make sure they're all working together to connect with that ICP.
Yeah, absolutely. And that really ties back to why it's not an effective strategy that, someone contacts you and says, "Oh, I can redo your website," or "Let me help you with your email campaign." But how do they even know that's one of your central go-to-market motions where you want to focus and you want to dial up? So that's why I want to start again with refining the strategy, aligning to the personas and the ideal customer profile, and then going deeper in the go-to-market motion that's going to be most effective to reach that particular base.
Yeah. And, one thing that's so important, as, a lot of what we've been talking about is the new customer acquisition, right? Mm-hmm. And getting new logos and new leads. But so many of these strategies are really important for your existing customers to drive retention and growth of those existing contracts. And, when you and I first met, we talked a lot about how marketing is so focused on new business and sales that it's not always brought into the strategy for retention and growth. And so, talk a bit about, from your perspective, how a lot of these same initiatives can be applied to your current customer group.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think it's an underrated area that, companies are so focused on looking at those new logos, measuring that. And we know it's that much harder to get a new logo or to get a new customer because they're probably already using a solution. So sometimes it's unseating a competitor, but also they don't know you. You've got to start from scratch. And I get the other side is you don't want all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify, have multiple customers. But the idea is that if you're providing good service or good product experience to a given customer, they're going to be more likely to refer you not only to someone else, but also within. So for, let's say, even a medium-sized company, to somebody else, another department, another area solution that's needed. So some of these go-to-market motions are the same where, it's an email campaign. It could be a newsletter. It's keeping that customer informed, but also sharing different areas that your company is responsible for. I think it's a shame if, you hear the story too often where it turns out a customer went and bought a different solution or service from another provider because they didn't even realize that the given company offered that because it was just never discussed. And so, this idea of being able to just share, it puts the company in a better light as being more holistic, answering so many different areas and doing it in a way that's not this hard sell, but more informative, educational. A lot of times this helps the workflow too, especially in software in services where you have different departments. Maybe it's a solution that ties in together because they each have a component or part of a suite, let's say. Or in the case of a service that, now they've got one vendor that's already approved. So there's so many different advantages. But to your point, a lot of the same go-to-market motions, whether it's an event or whether it's outbound, even the website for inbound, sometimes it's just pointing out, what's available, or it could even just be asking for that referral. Oh, do you know someone in this other department? Or do you have this problem? Or at least to ask for the intro and see where that goes.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And, in my many, many years on the business development side within agencies, it was always my dream that the account leads would invite us in on a quarterly basis and just say, I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't let you know of these other capabilities we have for when you're ready. I think in my experience, the account teams were so worried we would come in and give a hard sell and kind of muddy the relationship there. But if you're bringing in your marketing or sales, or just even the collateral, the narrative for the account manager to share, again, to your point, it's like, listen, we do these other things. We have these
Mhm.
other capabilities. Let us just tell you about them. It might not be the right timing. It might be, but more as I said, we're doing our due diligence to make sure you're aware of every every tool in our portfolio that could be of value to you. The other aspect as well, as you said, the website has, if you're building up all this valuable content for your new customers, excuse me, show your existing customers like what other examples, include them in your newsletter so they know where are you going to be for conferences, are you speaking
Mhm.
at events, are you publishing bylines. And I think that's an area where if you're really showing them, you said, that we have all of this great other solutions, all these other great solutions that can help you, come, let's talk about that as well. So I hope
Yeah.
that we'll see more marketing brought into, and that kind of strategic growth, that go-to-market strategy initiatives brought into existing clients.
That's so true. And I love what you said, that it's strategic, because it's not just, okay, now sales is off to the next customer and then
Right.
this is left to one group to maintain, but it's more of that continuity. I love that saying of, people don't want to be sold to, but actually they
Right.
love to buy. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
as long as it's done in the right way, and you've just given a great example there where
Hmm.
it's just really to inform and
Yeah.
educate. And then it's part of this bigger story. And I really think it makes the company look better too, because they've got this more holistic offering. They're continuing to innovate and develop and just really
Hmm.
trying to make the current customer aware. So
Right.
yeah, it's a win-win.
Right. Yeah. And it goes as well, reinforcing the company's overarching brand identity and differentiator, and just reinforcing why you chose them in the first place. So, so much opportunity there.
Yeah. I think the incentives too. So if this is a priority to continue to develop and there's still opportunity for current
Hmm.
clients, then really that incentive needs to be there for sales too.
That's true.
And to your point, not in a way that's going to chase them off, but one that really is, again, is to inform, but that there's some type
Mhm.
of incentive. So it's not just only about getting new clients, new logos, so to speak.
Right, right. Yeah. No, this is definitely valuable information, Heidi. So thank you so much. So definitely learned more about having a strong go-to-market strategy and ICP. Before you go, what is your number one recommendation for a brand that needs to revisit their go-to-market strategy?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think a good place to start is really mapping out, where are you today
Hmm.
in terms of that ICP, and where do you want to be in the next couple of years. And maybe it's the same, maybe it's going deeper within a given ICP, but really that current state, future state is really important, because then you can build out what are the right ways to reach them, how much do we have to invest, where should we scale back. But it really kind of starts with, where are we today, and just having that look, and then where do we want to get to as a basis. And then I would do that also in light of what's changed within, let's say, competitive landscape, as well as other opportunities
Hmm.
that customers have. But that's exactly where I would recommend to start, is current state, future state.
That's very valuable. And as we've talked about a lot of these things, I'm like trying to remind myself for my own go-to-market strategy. So thank you. This has been wonderful, Heidi, and I look forward to having you on again in the future.
That sounds great. Thanks so much, Kerry. No, you've been there. You've experienced this as well. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast. We have more valuable content coming up, so be sure to subscribe to Revenue Boost, a marketing podcast, so you don't miss out. To connect with me, Kerry Curran, to learn how you can boost your revenue and to listen to past episodes, visit revenuebasedmarketing.com.